Let us learn about menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle is also called endometrial cycle. So how to define it? Menstrual cycle is a complex series of rhythmic changes that occur in a female reproductive structure at an interval of 28 days. So ಏನದು menstrual cycle ಅಂದ್ರೆ it is a complex series of rhythmic changes that taking place where it is taking place in a female reproductive structure for about 28 days. The onset of menstrual cycle is called menarche, and it start at puberty between the age of 11 to 15 years. So during menstruation, what will happen? Changes that takes place in the ovary as well as changes it can observe in the endometrium of the uterus. Now let's see the definition of menstruation. Menstruation is a periodic discharge of blood, mucus and cellular debris from uterus through vagina at in about 4 weeks. So menstruation andre enu? When there is a proliferation of the uterus, you can observe the release of blood, mucus and cellular debris which is taking place, and it is moving through the vagina for about 4 weeks. So as we know, the length of the menstrual cycle varies in different women. What is the main important feature of this menstrual cycle? There are two main important features you can observe. The first one is monthly flow and the second one is the release of egg from the ovary. So menstrual phase, that is menstrual cycle, has 4 phases. The first phase is menstrual phase, the second one is pre-ovulatory phase, and then you can see ovulatory phase, and then you can see post-ovulatory phase. Let's see one by one. The first phase is called menstrual phase. It starts from one day and it is last till 5th day. It starts from one day and it is last till 5th day in absence of pregnancy. Don't forget this. It is taking place in absence of pregnancy. It is characterized by the discharge of it is characterized by the menstrual discharge or menses. ಏನಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈನ್ ಏನು ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಂ ರೀಜನ್ನ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ವೆನ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ ಲೋ ಸೆಕ್ರೀಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ವೆನ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲೋ ಸೆಕ್ರೀಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಪ್ರಾಲಿಫರೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಂ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಲಿಫರೇಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಲೇಯರ್ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಟ್ರಿಯಂ ರೀಜನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆನ್ಸುರೇಷನ್, and that phase is called what? Menstrual phase. One more time. The first phase is called menstrual phase. It starts from 1 to 5th day. Due to the low secretion of estrogen and progesterone, proliferation of endometrium takes place, and that is nothing but what? Menstruation, or you can say it as menses. The next phase is called pre-ovulatory phase. Pre-ovulatory phase, it starts from 6th day and it will last till 13th day. During this phase, what will happen? Development of the follicles takes place. Development of the follicles takes place. Development of the follicle, ಯಾವ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಬೇಕು? Pituitary will release a hormone called FSH. They act on the ovary. In the ovary, development of the follicles takes place. That means primary follicle they become secondary follicle they become tertiary, and then they become graphene follicle. And this you can observe in the pre-ovulatory phase. During the follicular development, estrogen will also be secreted. There will be a rise of estrogen level. So one more time, in the pre-ovulatory phase, what will happen? It takes place from 6th day and it will be lasting till 13th day. It takes place for about 7 days. So during this time, what will happen? Normally, development of the follicles takes place due to the hormone FSH and LH. The next phase is called ovulatory phase. So what is ovulatory phase? It takes place at 14th day. So as we know, the process of release of egg from the ovary, is called ovulation. Due to LH surge at the day 14, rupture of the graphene follicle takes place that releases the secondary oocyte or egg out, and the process is called what? Ovulation. So what is the reason for ovulation? Due to LH surge, the graphene follicle ruptures that releases the egg out, and the process is called ovulatory phase. And the next phase is called post-ovulatory phase. So post-ovulatory phase begins from 15th day and it will be last till 28th day. So during this time, what will happen? It is a time between ovulation and the next menstrual cycle. Post-ovulatory phase is a time between ovulation and the next menstrual cycle. Ovulatory phase ಮತ್ತೆ menstrual phase ಅವೆರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? Post-ovulatory phase you can see. After ovulation, LH stimulates the ruptured follicle and they form corpus luteum. After ovulation ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? This ruptured follicle, they become what? corpus luteum, and this corpus luteum produces a hormone called progesterone. This corpus luteum produces a hormone called progesterone. Progesterone will maintain the endometrium region. ಈ endometrium ಪೂರ್ತಿ ತಿಕ್ಕಂಡಾಗಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, so what is essential? Progesterone is essential, and progesterone will maintain the pregnancy if implantation takes place. That means if the egg is fertilized with the sperm, then development of zygote will begin, and by implanting in the endometrium region. ಅಂದರೆ endometrium ಅಲ್ಲಿ implantation ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, this corpus luteum will produces the progesterone, and that progesterone will maintain the pregnancy. If this secondary oocyte is not fertilized with the egg, then corpus luteum degenerates into corpus albicans, and finally this will be degenerated out. That decreases the level of estrogen and progesterone. That is the beginning of the next menstrual cycle. So let's see one more time about the post-ovulatory phase. Post-ovulatory phase, it begins from 15th day and it will last till 28th day. During this phase, what will happen? The ruptured follicle, they become corpus luteum. This corpus luteum produces a hormone called progesterone. If the secondary oocyte is fertilized with the sperm, or if an egg is fertilized with the sperm, development of zygote and implantation takes place in the endometrium region. Pregnancy will be there. To maintain the pregnancy, progesterone will maintain the pregnancy. To maintain the pregnancy, corpus luteum will produce the progesterone that will maintain the pregnancy. If this egg is not fertilized with the sperm, then corpus luteum will degenerate into corpus albicans, and finally it will degenerate out. That decreases the estrogen and progesterone, and that will again begins the next cycle, and that is nothing but what? Menstrual phase. So this is about the menstrual cycle. So as we know, what do you mean by menopause? Cessation of the menstrual cycle is called menopause. What is menopause? Cessation of the menstrual cycle is called menopause. It takes at the age of 45 to 50 years. So during this time, various symptoms you can observe. During the menopause time, various symptoms you can observe. You can see menstruating abruptly or stop menstruation. ಅಂದರೆ menstruation ಆಗದಲೇ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ abruptly menstruation ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. You can also see temporary depression. You can see physiological and psychological changes or problems you can see. So this is all about what? Menstrual cycle. Thank you.